you all. I am terrible as a public speaker, but I didn't prepare any notes. I'm just going to speak off the cuff. And I think it's particularly difficult today because I'm feeling a little overwhelmed. My good luck in my life is my friends. You've heard some of them today. And Joanne, who did so much work for this today, and Poet's House, and giving us a venue. And then all the people that I've known and loved and cared about throughout my life. Sort of stand behind the work itself. I mean, on these occasions you expect to hear a few platitudes, so I won't disappoint you. You're only really as good as those people that you know and love. And as I said, I've been very lucky in that regard. So I thought I would read a couple of poems from the debut volume, the anniversary we're celebrating, and then some poems later on, that came later on. So I'll begin with the Chinese porcelains at the Metropolitan. It was as though I had stumbled on an unrecognized need, this rich embarrassment. For once, I really looked, pressing the glass that defended them, my native state, my own feelings. From what source? Caught up in and congruent to the bulge and flow of those forms, splendid in unimaginable glazes. Clair de lune, mirror black, tea dust, celadon, oxblood, famille noire, peach bloom, imperial yellow, cafe au lait, fish roe crackle, and blue and white. This last one was its own country. Silken pillars of milk dribbled with the blue syrup that slid down those hard white slopes, improbably assuming real shapes. A branch ravaged with plum blossoms, a house, man, frightened dragon. Then famille noire. I was confused at finding myself a moment in someone else's dream as a drooping peony explodes. Spring through sunglasses, onyx skies that threat a striped wing. That was plenty. I retreated to an unfigured vase of clear green, near real pear or ideal teardrop. It seemed to lean up against weight, solid impetus, recording the smooth action of the potter's wheel that hidden still heard in the risen gyre of the form. Form and color, ancient, modern captors, saying a shape in clay can trace the curve of largest concerns, brim and not overflow with a full version of self. I read the supple script of those lines, poems across the trenches of time. You've met the past and it is present. The struggle has not ended, will not end. Meaning is only a moment contained, but form is legion. The rainbow lists go on as new invasions spin up from dream. Everything still remains to be done. This is a poem that records a walk I took many years ago with a friend, John, who has since died. We decided that we were going to cross Brooklyn Bridge, go over to Brooklyn and walk back. It just so happened that it was Palm Sunday. I'm sure you all know, because we're all poets or poet lovers here, Whitman's great poem, Crossing Brooklyn Ferry, and that serves as an epigraph for the poem. It's that line where he says, "It avails not, time nor place, distance avails not." The Bridge, Palm Sunday, 1973. The bridge was a huge sentence diagram, you and I the compound subject, moving toward the verb. We stopped, breathing balloonfuls of air, and noonday sun sent down a hard spray of light. Sensing an occasion, I put my arm on your shoulder, my friend and brother. Words, today, took the form of actions. The object of the pilgrimage, 110 Columbia Heights, where Hart Crane once lived, no longer existed. We learned, torn down, the physical address gone. A second possible tribute was to read his poem there on the promenade, in sight of the theme. That line moved you about the Bedlamite whose shirt balloons as he drops into the river, much like Crane's death, though he wasn't a Bedlamite. A dreamer, maybe, who called on Whitman and clasped his present hand as if to build a bridge across time. We hadn't imagined happenstance would lead us next to join with the daydreamers lined up before an Easter diorama of duck eggs hatching behind plate glass. The intended sentiment featured feathered skeletons racked with spasms of pecking against resistant shell, struggling out of dim solitary into incandescence and gravity, and quaking with the shock of sound and sight, as though existence were a nervous disease. All newborns receive the same sentence: birth, death, equivalent triumphs. Two deaf mutes walked back the same but inverse way, fatigue making strangers of us, and the afternoon hurt like sunburn. Overexposure is a constant risk of sensation and of company. I wondered why we were together. Is friendship imaginary? And does imagination obscure or reveal its subject? The ties always feel strange, strung along happenstance, following no diagram, incomplete, a bridge of suspense. Sometimes completed things revisited still resonate. I'm thinking about Crane's poem of the bridge, grand enough to inspire disbelief and to suspend it. The truth may lie in imagining a connection with him or with you, with anyone able to overlook distance, shrug off time on the right occasion. If I called him a brother, help me with this heart, who climbed toward light and sensation until the sky broke open to reveal an acute, perfect convergence before letting him fall back into error and mortality. Would we be joined with him and the voyagers before him? Would a new sentence be pronounced, a living connection between island and island, for a second be made? A couple of later poems. Marilyn actually mentioned this one's called Cannot Be a Tourist, and it's about me reflecting on all the travels and their effect on me. Cannot be a tourist. Not casually. Within 2 days, streets and vistas are mine forever. Some last few wisps of jet lag clearing as senses expand to occupy a space already second nature. How many facts, though, work against staying put? A rented house, an unknown language stumbled over, formal obligations, debts, in taut suspense, back where we both. Brought home so often, still the dried pages of the journal are more compelling than they have a right, much reasonable right, to be. Only a light on them. And now, ancestor olives near Delphi stand in an oddly youthful trance. The vines outside Siena, leaf by jagged, gold-veined classic leaf, outline the sun in a dust of earth. Bronze, cold green, the Haitian bantam stalks a wall spilled over with red bougainvillea, or Quai Voltaire's streaked pediment enshrines a crush of half-nude marble, artist cohorts living it up in their garret, the Seine by night, each lamp secreted in oyster mist. Facts be damned, some part follows hereafter and continues, at home where the heart, enlarged by affection, is. Whoever could not be a tourist shuts the door pro forma only. Aware, even so, forms good practice for firm conclusions, holding steady, When time says, bid the earth farewell. I had asked our friend Richard Howard if he could come today, but he's not in town and could not make it. But I wanted to, he was very helpful to me in the beginning. He published some of my first poems in magazines and read drafts of mine and offered a lot of assistance. So I wanted to read a poem, not actually about Richard, but about his dog, Maud. Some of you remember Maud. Actually, Maud has died and was replaced by Gide, and now Gide has also died. But I got to know Maud, and I knew Maud much better, so this is a poem about Maud called Maud in Memoriam. Dog's body in your case, a plump, trig, four-square frame upholstered in ash-white fur, plus short, splay trotters teeter-tottering out master's door to meet whoever rang, which would sometimes be me, at whom you'd gaze, lodging your claim. I, too, am one of the guys, your thumbprint of a face deep runneled like a walnut. Pug knows that when dry, you'd lick. Often my hand as well, though not for long. Cozier prospects called, like beetling to your warm corner on the leather sofa for a snooze, from which you now won't. It's not fair. And the dark memento left us mourners, Maud. That we, yes, all of us, the mild, the mad, the young, the old, the ill, ourselves one day must follow suit, and just what you did do. Imagination's sill once reached, though, a door springs open to reveal the spirit soar. You, curled tail athrob, pink tongue thrust out. Maud, beyond loss, grief, vacancy, or doubt. This poem is based on a comment published in the newspaper by Mark Twain. A London newspaper somehow got the idea that Twain had died and he hadn't. So he sent them a message, which I use as the title of this poem. The report of my death was an exaggeration. Think of it as a fault line fantasy that gets dressed up in mauve and black and latches on to certain people, figures who excite debate at least. Mark had popularity going for him. He wrote like a champ and was a nice guy off the court as well. From him, you'd always get an aerial view of the subject, whatever subject, and end up knowing more than you had before liftoff. He'd fling open a door to the neat four-room treehouse of his heart and let you in, despite palpable risk to circulation, not to mention the loss of privacy. Still, he'd moved. And the obit that everyone expected to be reading any day now kept on not appearing. It just wouldn't. It wouldn't, and though people are eager to hear the sequel, sorry, not Mark, but instead this topic has been terminated. No, seriously, I mean it. Thank you.